What's happening in there? J Gaming Dude here, and I'm going to be doing sort of a quick thoughts, quick review of Monster Musume no Oisha-san, or Monster Girl Doctor. This is sort of like an anthropomorphic sort of ecchi comedy about a human doctor that specializes in the biology of monster girls and kind of treats them. This was like aired back in summer of 2020, so it took me a while again with watching One Piece a lot to get to it, and definitely one that kind of has your attention, especially if you've seen something like Monster Musume no Iro Nichijou, which is about sort of the daily life of monster girls and sort of a main character that kind of, lives with Alamia and then brings across a few more different types of monster girls. And it's fair to think of it as a shameless ripoff, but the thing is that this show definitely moves itself away from like the majority ecchi elements at the very least, because like it doesn't go like sort of tits out, nipples up sort of thing. Instead, it's very sort of, it does have quite a few romance elements into it, and is certainly just as, if not more so, entertaining. So I definitely had a great time watching this show. And also, in order to differentiate itself from Monster Musume, which no Iro Nichijou, which is, again, worth pointing out, a completely different show, is that it brings in a lot more, how would you put it? A lot more world-building elements. And those world-building elements are more so in relation to the biology of the monsters, because there's very few shows that actually build a world around. Normally it's like the characters, the story, and the things that kind of happen that make the world what it is. But in rare instances, like for instance, in one of my examples of like one of the best ways of being able to build a world is... Shoot, I forgot what it was called. It was... should be somewhere on here. Maybe it isn't. Ishizoku Reviewers, that's the one I was thinking of. So yeah, Ishizoku Reviewers is an excellent example of world building, because you're pretty much like just describing how every monster, is different from each other, but also like, their bangability and all that sort of stuff. Which is an interesting way to look at it, and in this case we're looking at sort of the biology of monsters instead. What does a harpy's wings differ from, like, say, a bat? How is it that the scales of a snake are different from scales of other reptiles? Like, how are they different? And it does do a great job of that. It's very entertaining. Again, I can keep saying that it's really entertaining to watch. It can be funny at times, though it's not humor that's suited for everyone, and that humor by definition is completely, up to interpretation on how you want to interpret it. But this is definitely more along the lines of, humor that might not sit well with others. There are no surgical scenes, so you don't need to worry too much about that, because like myself, I don't really like, sit through like, say, live action, ER sort of like... Well, I know I've watched ER back in the day when I was like little and stuff, but like surgical scenes don't really do much for me at the moment, because like, I can barely sit through them. So Monster Girl Doctor does not go down that kind of path, but it is nonetheless incredibly entertaining, a fun ride, given that you can turn your brain off. It doesn't have much of a story. It's sort of more of a monster of the week type of presentation, so that's kind of what you're going to be getting out of it. I don't want to, talk into the story too much or speak to many of the characters that are actually being shown at the moment on like this piece of promotional art. But yeah, if this is something that seems like your bag, then absolutely worth watching. I've completed it personally, and I'm going to be giving it a 7 out of 10. I had a great time watching it, but that comes with the massive qualifier that you don't take it too seriously, because it certainly doesn't take itself too seriously either. So yeah, if you want to watch a good show that's a tad bit more recent, definitely worth a watch. And if you don't like monster girls, then I would definitely say stay far away from this one, because its name, advertising, and everything that it's about is literally plastered with it. In saying that, so that's kind of just been my thoughts on Monster Musume no Oisha-san. Let me know what you guys think about the show if you've seen it before, and if you have any other sort of recommendations along these lines. I did forget to mention it is sort of more of a slice of life deal as well. So again, if you're sort of in that slice of life space where like you're at that point where you've seen so much shonen and then you move on to like ecchi shows and then you're like kind of done with that whole space and you just want to like, you've also sort of grown up in life to now kind of be able to appreciate the simpler things, that hopefully this is the kind of slice of life that'll, you know, hit you in the right spots. Probably nowhere near as good as say something like Non Non Beauty, but hopefully, you know, if you feel like you want to watch something interesting in the slice of life space, certainly worth a watch. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.